I have kids playing around in the compound, so if you hear voices, I have finally decided to do this, and these kids are just everywhere. I cannot even stop them. They just here 247. So I'm going to try as much as I can to reduce the noise when I'm editing. Maybe I hope that will be possible. Unfortunately, I can't even use my mic. I have been contemplating as to whether I want to shoot this video and talk about this or not for the longest time. In fact, instantly when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, it's a great idea. It's going to be nice to talk about it. Somebody may learn from this, and it might just enlighten someone out there just to put out information that may be relevant to somebody. Yeah, long time no sit down video. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Nan. If you're stopping by for the first time, thank you so much. If you're a returning subscriber, my OGs, I love you guys. I love you all so much. Thank you for stopping by again. I haven't done a sit down video in forever, and if you have been following my channel recently, if you have been following my posts, you're going to know that I was away. I was pregnant for some time and had to be away for some time, during that period of pregnancy. Even though in the early stages of the pregnancy, I kept trying to show up here and to just film and just act normal, and but unfortunately for me, my own situation, everybody's experience is different. Guys, I got to a point where I just don't want to do anything anymore. I didn't want anything that would be holding me down and knowing that I had deadlines. So I just didn't want to be a part of that anymore. My body was beginning to swell so much. I added so much weight while I was pregnant, and I was sleepy a lot. Everything was just happening, and I was like, you know what, see, YouTube can wait. I know that I will eventually come back, and I managed to just capture and document some of the memories from the journey. And if you have not watched that video, it's two videos from this. You can just go and see what my progression journey was like during pregnancy, and then I posted about the delivery on the day of delivery. So yeah, this is like a follow-up as to why everything happened from my previous video. So yeah, guys, I was pregnant up until 42 weeks, if I remember correctly. I was pregnant, and I got to a point where I was exhausted from the beginning of the pregnancy, right? As at 12 weeks, I had already known the gender of the baby I was going to be having. So the first scan was had at 12 weeks. We had that scan, and already the gender was revealing, and the doctor had giving us the EDD, which is the expected date of delivery, and the EDD we got at the first scan we had were 8th of March and 14th of March. Yeah, I was just there, and you know what they always say about EDD is that it's must not necessarily be exactly on the date you were given. It can be before or even later, but I was just on my own. No, guys, my water broke on exactly the 8th of March. That day, at that point, I was tired. I just wanted the baby to be out, but there was just nothing at all. My belly was still standing tall and strong and big. It just kept growing bigger and bigger, and I just kept eating like a see. For the most part, I was exhausted and I was tired of eating. I was angry every time I was eating, because at that point everything I ate was like something. Of course, the child was was already grown or had already matured in my tummy, so the child was sapping the food in me. I was eating hourly. Imagine what that feels like. I can't even imagine it, because I'm not a foodie like that. As much as I can, I want to even manage, but there was no control as to how to manage, getting hungry. I was not in control anymore at that point. So I just kept eating. I digress. So on the 8th of March, my water broke, and I was excited, even though I didn't even realize it was after I had given birth that my husband reminded me and told me that my water actually broke on the date we were giving, and I was like, oh, that's true. But I never even thought of it that way, right? Because when my water broke that day, I had not gone into I didn't go into labor. It's expected that probably my water was going to break and then I'm going to labor shortly afterwards, but I didn't go into labor immediately. So when my water broke, we went to the hospital, my sister and I, because I was at my parents. We went to the hospital, and the hospital was just around in the neighborhood, it wasn't far. So we went to the hospital, and the doctor on duty that day, we explained to him what had happened and how I was still feeling okay and normal. And you know, the I think the chief of the hospital had not left the hospital at the time we went, because it was already evening, it was already night, not late, but around like 6 to 7, no, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. ish, I think. And then he instructed the doctor that I should not leave the hospital, that there was no way I was going to leave the hospital, considering that my water had broken. And it didn't just break like the kind of big rupture that happens now. It actually, and I still kept feeling the water from me coming out. So at that point, I just had to wear a sanitary pad. And then the water kept dropping. And so we went to the hospital, and the doctor just said that, well, I would have to just be there in the hospital and stay to be observed throughout the night. But because our house was just, oh, we're just living around, we told the doctor it was not necessary, since I had not even gone into labor. I don't know if that was a mistake or what the situation was, but well, I had not gone into labor, so there was no point. I didn't want to start sleeping in the hospital and start stressing. You know, all those hospital stress. Now, even though that the hospital wasn't going to stress me at all in any way, but it was comfortable. But I just wanted to know that I was at home and nobody was panicking that I was already in the hospital. Everybody had started getting ready, that I was going to, deliver any moment. Everybody was getting ready and all. And that was how we had to we convinced the doctor, and he let us go for the day. For that night, we left the hospital that night, guys. Till the next day, the water just kept coming, it just kept dropping. Now, as at the time we got home, we now started googling what was going on, because we were just so curious. And we were told Google it was a premature rupture of the membrane, which implies that when that happens, a woman is expected to go into labor in the next 24 hours. So, seeing that, it just felt like everything was safe. And the next day, I slept throughout the night like a baby. We woke up the next day, still, there was nothing. I got ready, I was just expecting that period. The weather was hot, so I was just hot, and it was so annoying. I had to go out to take a walk from the house to the junction, which is also quite a distance. It's expected that if I had done that, labor should kick in, guys. Labor did not start immediately, and I got back as an afternoon. The water that was coming out you know from me was had already changed into like a dark greenish, not dark but army greenish color like that. And I was now starting to get concerned, because it was just a normal, not so clear bright water, but it was just, now the color was changing into something darker. And I now started to get worried though. So that evening, we decided to avoid anything. We decided, okay, I should just go to the hospital so we don't even take any risks at all, whatever the case may be, even if I had not gone into labor. And that was how we went to the hospital. And then the doctor that was on duty that evening saw what the color looked like, and there and then he just told me, he saw what the color looked like. He did a scan, to just see what was going on with the baby for the last time. And first off, when he saw what the color looked like, he just told me that the best thing to do right now is to take the baby out. Like that was the best option to to that was the best thing to do, because it would be risky trying to go into labor, because at that point the baby had already gone into distress because of the color in change of that liquid and all. And gosh, I started thinking that I did not plan for a cesarean. I wanted to give birth like a Hebrew woman and just go into the whole labor and try and give birth normally and all of that. Like, why is CS? And I was already trying to say that, you know what, you guys should just induce me. Let's see how it goes. And he gave me his professional advice, saying that it was going to put the baby at risk if I would go into labor because nobody knows for how long labor would last for. So already the baby was at risk. Going into labor will put the baby at more risk, meaning that the baby may get in distress and we may lose the baby. We were likely to lose the baby. And then, that was how we started praying, we prayed about it. We started calling people that we knew that were in the medical line to just ask and get suggestions as to what to do. I called my husband and I wanted, already he knew that I was in the hospital, and then I called him. So I just kept giving him updates as to what was happening because he wasn't in town with me, and that was how I told him. And then he had to I had to tell him, of course, so we could decide as a family as to what we wanted, and then he decided to call our pastors in Zaria. So I delivered in Jos, but I was in Zaria throughout my pregnancy, or for the most part of my pregnancy, and there the church in Zaria, our pastors, were with us the entire journey because they were doctors, and we had this group of expectant mothers where they just give us advice and work with us on that journey, and they just help us through the entire process, talking to us. It was like more like a gathering where you meet people like you, and then you guys share your experience, talk about things you're going through, and then you get also medical advice, on your journey. And it was so nice because going through pregnancy alone, if you, it's not easy actually going through pregnancy alone. If you have people, like-minded people on that journey, you can always share and talk with. It's really a beautiful experience to go through the journey of pregnancy with somebody or with a group of people. And then that was how he called them to let them know what was happening, and they had to call professionals. Now they had to call higher professionals, I guess, who was, a specialist who had gone far in the field, and then the doctor instantly advised that the baby should be taken out. We shouldn't even think about anything. Instantly at this point the baby was at a very high risk, so there was no point overthinking it. Just take the baby out. And my husband got back to me, told me to go in for a cesarean. We're not going to take the risk because everybody, mother and child, had to be fine at the end of the day. And that was how we went into the theater. They prepared me to go into the theater. The entire experience was just so surreal because everything happened almost immediately. In less than 40 minutes, everything just happened so fast. What the entire process of even taking out the baby was in less than 30 minutes. Everything happened so fast. That was how I got changed. I got prepared to go into the theater. I went into the theater, and the doctors were so nice. At that point, when we decided, everybody that needed to show up for that delivery to take place showed up instantly, even if they were not there. So all hands were on deck, and the surgeons, everybody came, and we had our baby delivered. I could even hear the sound of the baby as soon as he was taken out. He made the loudest cry, like the healthiest child ever, and I was just thankful to God that it was possible. Everything happened the way God had envisioned and planned it for me, because everything we kept saying throughout my pregnancy was that everything God showed us was that I was going to have an easy delivery. And this is not to even say that going through a cesarean is easy, because everybody, or a lot of people, think that C-section is the easy route. Now, it is not, because you have an entire period, a journey of recovery after that simple process in codes, because everything happens fast, right? But you have a period of careful, as a matter of fact, Caesarean section is a major surgery nobody should ever joke with at all. I am so grateful to God. I am still healing. I feel better. 3 months down, finally I'm beginning to feel like myself again. Like all of the pregnancy hormones have finally, or they are finally just going, and I'm feeling like myself again. And I'm so grateful to God for how everything turned out. Yeah, that was how my baby came out. And yeah, that's about it, guys. That was what happened on the day of delivery. If you have any questions, you can drop your questions in the comment section, and I'm going to surely give you a response if I do have and know exactly what you would want to know. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you guys on another one. Bye.